And we're back. Losers back around 2 here, going with Simplified Gaming, taking on Reason Gaming as two sponsored teams going up against it. In the really earlier Losers bracket rounds, Reason getting knocked down by Lions. I think Simplified got taken up by, I don't remember. Stay Green took him out in Diamond Cycle 10, but I can't remember what we're talking about. This is Diamond Cycle 9, of course, so I don't remember who did it. But anyway, stuff going relatively fast here as the bans are Ravener, Ophelia, Pestilence, and Warby. Something crazy, shocking there. Ravener, a little interesting to see this early on. Pesty, Warbeast, and Oath, nothing surprising. Very, very often banned in the first banning stage, but I guess Link 6 feeling like not feeling like they want to take on a Ravener here from Reason, but regardless, it will be Kraken, Tempest, and Wretched Hag over here from Simplified Gaming. Lots of strong heroes. Tempest obviously in the jungle, with Ophelia off the board, I think is the strongest jungler, and plenty of ulti synergy here. Lots of team fight, pretty decent push with Tempest and Hag. Kraken and Hag in particular, very versatile heroes. We have no idea what lanes they're going to. They could both be run in all 3 lanes. So we always like to pick heroes like that where you're going, I don't know what's going to happen here. Certainly versatile as well, adding some tank, team fight, gank, and late game potential here. So Link 6 and the rest of the guys on the Legion side looking for a support and something else. We're not really sure what else that's going to be, as apparently Hotcast is online. Yay for them. So Imbu going to have some issues here banning some stuff out. He could probably ban supports as he has picked up an Engineer on top of Parasite and Corrupted Disciple. So Reason running a jungler here. That's a little surprising. They don't usually do that. They tend to be second support players more than anything. So we'll see how they perform with a jungler here. I believe that's going to be Saint Rox's hero, as I think Tilla is just their hard support player. And I like that. I like that they're running a jungler. They're getting a little too typecast in the second support thing. I said that way too often for them. But nonetheless, a pretty strong team here, as CD is extremely powerful, not only in lane, but as the game progresses. Parasite providing more burst than anybody else on either side has. And Engineer, of course, arguably the strongest support in the game. So not a big surprise that he gets picked up first. Quite well done here from Hellborn. A little less synergistic, I think, in Legion's draft, which is, I think, extremely powerful at this point. Their pushing isn't quite as strong as Legion, their team fight isn't quite as strong as Legion, their carry is probably a little bit better, and their gank is a little bit better, but so far actually I'm favoring Legion's draft, so Link 6 over here doing well on the drafting side. As we move into the second banning stage, Magnus and Rally being taken out by the Legion side, as they're looking to eliminate those mid players so that Engineer in the mid dual lane can't have the best time in the world. It's going to be a little difficult because there are so many available. Pebbles is still on the board, of course, Flux is still on the board, and Imbaboy will be able to get one of those 2 heroes. I suspect whichever one is not banned out will be the one that's picked up. If I had to pick either one, I'd probably go Pebbles here. They don't have too much stun here. Flux won't provide that, and even though the ulti synergy is very nice, getting rid of, or adding a stun here on Legion's or Hellborn side, especially adding some more gank potential, would be very, very good, because both Tempest and Hag, of course, rather squishy heroes, so if you can get somebody in there that provides a lot of burst damage and keep them down, that'll help Corrupted Disciple move into the late game and become the powerful hero that he can be. Anyway, Master of Arms Pyromancer banned out by Imbaboy, so no surprise he's removing supports at this point, because he does need to make sure that those are no longer available, and he has one of his, so the Legion needs one of theirs, and getting rid of stuff. Wow, Pebbles actually banned out by Imbaboy. That's a little surprising, as he does fit the Legion lineup. They could certainly run him, although I don't think that he fits it as well as the Hellborn lineup, so a little odd there. Regardless, Keeper of the Forest last ban here from Link 6, so that's a suicide option certainly. Getting taken out there, not a surprise that they'd eliminate that, as Hellborn are really looking for a suicide in a mid here. You could run that Corrupted Disciple in the suicide role. Lions, aka BMG, have also done that to a fair degree, but I think that's a bit of a unique situation just because the Honest fan is that good a suicide player. I don't think that's something you want to consistently do, because CD in the suicide lane I don't think is he's going to do well. Like, he can get destroyed there. He's just, no stun, no slow, no escape mechanism, and if he gets ganked a couple of times, or if he goes up against a pseudo tri-lane or a dual lane or aggressive dual lane, something like that that has some heroes that have a bunch of burst damage, a bunch of lockdown, he can get destroyed. So very situational suicide pickup, I think, and in this situation I would not grab that. Torture can be the first pick coming out of the second banning stage for the Legion team, and providing yet another stun, very, very powerful, as both Kraken and Tempest have stuns, but neither of them are like consistent stuns. Kraken's charge is a little hard to land, and before he gets the portal key it can be extremely hard to land. Doesn't always stun either, because you actually have to hit something into a cliff or a tree in order for it to stun. And of course the Glacial Blasts from Tempest are a successive stun, so they can do a lot if they go off, but if you get fogged or something like that, they don't go down, then that's not nearly as helpful. Torture is stun going to be much more reliable. Not quite as reliable as something targeted, but it's a very strong pickup nonetheless. And Prisoner going to be the fourth pick here from the Legion's, or Hellborn side. Presumably going to be run by Death Growl in that mid lane with Engineer. It's a pretty darn strong combination there with the Shackle, Keg, Turret, and Hook providing plenty of damage and slowing. So that's going to be a little difficult for whoever's in mid lane to deal with. I suspect it's going to be Torture or Kraken at this point, just because that's sort of what they need to do. And Flux last pick, interesting. Now I'm thinking Flux Torturer middle. I don't know what they're going to do here. They could go Suicide mid, essentially. Suicide the Hag, mid Kraken, and Flux Torturer bottom, but I don't really like that. Let's try Hag bot, Kraken Suicide, Flux Torturer mid. I think that's their best shot at this point, because they're going to need Hag to go carry, get farm early, and get him to late game, because if they don't, Corrupted Disciple is going to be a major problem. Hellborn do have strong mid-game presence as well with that Parasite, and they're not going to be able to suicide this Hag because they need to make sure she has a good start, otherwise they could lose this game in the early laning or mid-game phase if they lose and they have a suicide Hag. If they lose their lanes and they have a suicide Hag, they're not going to be able to recover, and Corrupted will take over the game. So we'll see what they choose to do, but it seems to me like it's going to have to be the Suicide Kraken, Flux Torture in middle, and Wretched Hag on bot. I have a bit of a problem with that in mid, just because while Flux is extremely tanky, he could still die to the Prisoner NG combo. Torture definitely will. They have one stun. The Magnetic Surge from Flux will be very helpful, so will the Release, and he is very tanky, so it's going to be hard to kill him. Torture, not so much. It's going to be very easy to kill him. So we'll see how they do on, how they choose to lane this on Legion, but not a huge fan of that Flux pickup. I think if you had gotten a short laner instead, that would have allowed you to run a slightly more defensive mid lane with Kraken and Torturer. Kraken would have been fine because Prisoner's a melee hero too, so you would have gotten a CS plus the charge away. Allows him to survive through a lot of stuff. Of course, Shackle would prevent that, but with a stun from Torturer and some auto attacks on that little ball, they could probably keep him alive long enough to get him out of there. Flux and Torturer may not be so lucky. Regardless, Hellborn pick up the Scout as a suicide, as he manages to make it to the last pick. That's a little shocking. So it is going to be the short lane Corrupted Disciple solo, Prisoner and NG middle, Parasite in the jungle, and Scout suicide bottom. Scout should have quite a good time in that situation, as... Place him all chat. Scout should have quite a good time there, so assuming this is a... Nope, that's going to be Suicide Hag. I really don't like this. Really, really don't. It's going to be a short lane Flux, Suicide Hag, Kraken middle. And just, teams keep doing this, where they put a hero in a short lane who doesn't need it and doesn't benefit from it. Like, the value of a short lane, to me, in my massively uneducated opinion, is it's a safer lane where you put a hero that is prone to dying, but has a substantial ability to turn heavy CS and a strong early game into a very, very powerful, mid and late game hero. So Moon Queen, for example. Moon Queen has high base speed, but she's squishy. She has no escape mechanism. If you put her in a suicide, she'd die all the time. You put her in a short lane, she doesn't die all the time. She carries like crazy. So in the short lane, she works very, very well. Bubbles. Very defensive hero. Does well enough in the mid game to be helpful, but won't carry you, really. Unless he has just, like, ridiculously high GPM. And he's defensive enough that he doesn't need that short lane. He can be a suicide. So if you put bubbles in this short lane, you're wasting it. And then you have to put somebody else in the suicide lane that either is also, a hero that doesn't tend to need a lot of farm. So you're putting really two heroes here that don't need farm, and that's not really a recipe for a good late game, because you want heroes that need farm to take you to the late game. It's really strange, this decision here. It's going to give them the pseudo tri-lane, actually, but Scout doesn't care. Scout just doesn't care. He is going to be jumped over here, and he's going to put a bunch of damage onto this Tempest. And Tempest needs to be a little careful about this. Scout's mana is going to run out pretty soon, so he's just going to have to leave, but he spent a lot of harass damage down. In middle, it looks like Engineer Prisoner doing just fine. Kraken need to be solo here, so he's also now in a lot of trouble, because if he gets hooked in and shackled, he won't be able to charge away, and he could die. Without the Torturer to back him up, this is a much, much less safe lane for Kraken, excuse me. With the amount of flash damage he's taken from this Engineer, things could be a bit of an issue. Keg's still going to miss, but Kraken's still not doing super well down here. Up top, Corrupted Disciple and Hag going at it. Corrupted should win this lane fairly easily. Hag is going to have a hell of a time trying to kill him, because if he blinks aggressively, Corrupted is just going to take all his damage with the conduit and auto-attack him to death. My Facebook once again. Jesus Christ, I have to turn that off. So Hellborn looking to win both mid and top. They're going to lose bot, no doubt, because Scout is down here and he's a suicide up against a Flux. It's just not going to happen. Scout won't be able to get kills down here, but he should get the occasional CS and grab some levels, which is pretty much what he's supposed to do. You get a few CS, get yourself a bottle, maybe an Energizer, maybe some boots, and some levels, and you start ganking. And with Kraken in middle, that's going to be pretty easy. With Tempest in the jungle, also going to be pretty easy. If Scout hits 6, it wouldn't be that shocking to see him pick up a kill into Tempest, because Tempest doesn't take too much harass damage usually from his jungling. He's not like a Legionnaire or something, but he's also, squishy. He's an hero, so Scout coming in there with a bunch of damage could easily kill him. Of course, Engineer could do the same thing. There is no rewards here, so if NG goes for a bot rune, finds double damage, Scout goes to the jungle, and Scouts out that Tempest, they can probably land a kill pretty easily. Taking a bunch of harass here, and he is out of regen, but still has mana. Should be mostly okay when it comes to surviving in this lane. And already we see a resource advantage here from the Hellborn. Not that surprising. I mean, the skill difference is in their favor as well, so it's not just about the draft or the lanes or something like that, which I think favor Legion fairly heavily on both, Hellborn heavily on both counts, but there's also the issue of Simplified Gaming is just probably not as good a team as Reason is. Off to the side, Scout here finding Tempest, who is level 3, and he's jungling. We'll be able to knock his mana pod off real fast and put a bunch of damage onto him. Tempest's going to be just annoyed as hell. The Scout's taking a CS. Torture over here trying to do something about it. It's not going to happen. Once again goes in Viz. I'm just going to leave. So Flux is getting free farm down here, but I don't think Hellborn cares. Because there's, okay, alright, you're going to be really powerful, really farmed Flux. I don't care. It's like, what are you going to do to me? You're not a heavy damage hero. We're not really going to be able to kill you because you're tanky. But we just won't focus you. We'll focus the Hag, we'll focus the Tempest, we'll focus the Torturer, we may even focus the Kraken. We're just going to leave you alone, there's nothing you're going to be able to do. Hag over here getting taken out a little bit, probably not going to die. Engineer has a haste rune, trying to push her out of lane, but it's not going to happen. They will both pop health pots. And Corrupted also taking some mana. So a roam from NG, helping CD zone out this Hag a little bit. She does have a bottle, of course. That does help keep her in lane, but she is out of charges at this point, so she's going to have to be playing extremely defensively. Only one bottle on the Legion, on the Hellborn side in Prisoner, and there are 2 on Legion with Kraken and Hag. I always like to see the 2 bottle strat, especially since the refreshment rune, it's like, just get one in your mid and one in one of the side lanes and say, alright, I'll go for top rune always, you always go for bottom rune, and we should have them fairly well covered. Scout once again doing what he can to harass this Tempest out, as he has no mana left, so he's going to have some issues farming here. We'll steal his Catman. Scout's just like, thanks for the farm. Sorry, Tempest, you're getting nothing. Torrent there, as Kraken has the ultimate here. Probably could have killed. Puck will miss. We'll bottle up here. Probably look for a kill on the Prisoner, who is instead going to go for the bot rune, so we'll see who gets lucky here. Kraken guarding top, Prisoner guarding bottom. And it is going to be Prisoner on bot getting the DD, so that's a pretty solid luck there for him, as he pretty much needs that to get himself back up to full health. Activates the DD, going to sip a couple of charges here from that bottle. And of course it will help him CS, so Scout having lane control here now, going to come back and take some farm. Getting harassed a little bit by Flux, but not super concerned about that. And it looks like Legion are trying to push this tower in a little bit. Ballista not coming for another minute or so. So we're 7 minutes in here, still waiting for the Bloodlust. Up top, Hag, perhaps in a little bit of trouble, will blink away, and Engineer's like, that's my cue. Gonna throw the turret out, slow him down a little bit, looking for the keg here, not gonna find it. Prisoner and Kraken are alone in mid, and now Prisoner realizes that, so he's gonna put some damage in. Not choosing to drop the ultimate, as Prisoner is pretty damn tanky. Figuring he can't kill him before Hellborn shot. Meanwhile, Tempest pushing bot tower, so that's gonna be a successful tower kill. Will help swing the gold back towards the Legion. Ultimate coming out from Prisoner, as here's a port saying support Kraken. Release the Kraken actually misses, and it will hook him right back in. This is going to be a Bloodlust, finally, on Kraken. Now a jump also onto Hag, and she takes the face hug, but actually gets the haunt applied to her. That's pretty funny. Over here in bot, Scout Illusion's going to mess with Tempest's jungle. So 8.5, we're really 9 minutes in now. We have a kill. Kraken died. It's amazing. Hag once again playing very defensively up here. At least 174 gold per minute on her. And this is what I was concerned about, is because even though the Hellborn really haven't taken a massive advantage here, they are slightly ahead. But looking for a jump there, and turret actually going to do a lot. Chain reactions helps everybody out, but Prisoner's still going to fall here. No, Keg stuns out Kraken, and now he's dead. Sipping some bottle charges here, trying to get away. Oh my god. Two heroes that have no health, and I'm surprised that they both live there. Top tower is denied, so that takes 1 for 1. Now in terms of towers. But like I was saying, you know, Hag at this 170 gold per minute mark, it's massively concerning because, you know, Hellborn don't have a massive resource advantage here after the laning phase, but it's going to take Hag so long to recover that even though Flux is at 400 gold per minute, the late game still is, you know, well in favor of Hellborn. And just, I'm concerned here because, like, they've got the 10 wheels ultimate. Engineer gonna put the stun, actually kills him. He kills himself. Nice hook back in onto Torture, who is actually double damaged, but he's gonna get picked off here by Parasite coming in off to the side. And he remains in the Minotaur. Conduit going down there onto Flux, I believe, but not getting too much damage out of it. So, the thing I'm concerned about is most of this Legion team is about lockdown, not damage. Hag is pretty much the only one that's going to provide a lot of damage. Maybe Torturer, maybe Kraken, we'll see. Flux is not a damage dealer. So it's really nice they have the Tempest ultimate, but Tempest is going to be sort of useless at this point because he's going to put the ultimate down, and unless they have like all of their ults and they hit, you know, 4-man Tempest ultimate, they drop all their ults on the 4 people that are inside it and kill everything, there's going to be no sustained damage. A 1 or 2-man Tempest ultimate might get a kill if he's got a ton of backup, but Hag at this point is just not providing a lot of damage. And it's a pretty serious issue because the rest of her team isn't going to. Engie and Torch are going to see each other here. Chain reactions miss. As Hag's going to jump in here. Puts the Bat Blast onto Engie, and now Torture. Now he's dead, so. Easy kill there onto Tilla. Once again, Amy Boy pushing top, and he's doing some damage to the secondary tower here. Port coming in, and it's going to be Flux. Kraken dropping his ultimate there, trying to get the kill on Prisoner, but apparently missed because Prisoner didn't even take very much damage. 12-minute rune was already taken, I assume. It was bot. Who had it? I don't even know. Perhaps Prisoner did that. Regardless. And mid, Kraken gets pulled in on top of the Shackle and a Keg Stun, plus the ultimate from Prisoner will get hooked back in, and that's going to be a kill. So nicely done there. Grabbing a kill onto Zille on that Kraken. Just no farm, man. 224 GPM on Hag is the second highest farm, now 228 on Tempest. And Flux is good, but 330, 340, 326, 303, 211. It's just farm so much better over here on the Hellborn side. Hag getting chased down here obviously has the blink and will be alright. Corrupted continues to push this top tower in, being relatively passive about it, not doing too much to actually kill it himself, but consistently pushing the creep wave in, and it's now pretty low. We'll be able to grab it before too long. Two heroes here in the jungle. Tempest continuing to farm. I don't think I've seen him drop an ultimate yet. And Torture going to help him take the stack. As Torture's not taking a bunch of damage. On bot, Scout and Parasite going to be off here, looking to do some damage to bot tower. And then once again, Engineer and Prisoner. Perhaps looking for a pick on Kraken. The Prisoner ult is back up in a couple of seconds. Kraken faking some stuff, but with no support. Sorry, Prisoner faking some stuff, but with no support is not going to happen. There are 4 heroes here from Legion, so Kraken absolutely has support. They're probably looking for a kill onto this Prisoner. Torture going to show himself off to the side. Turk getting dropped by Engineer for basically no reason. They're going to turn this into a push. Mid tower not particularly low. Counter ward goes down there, will stop a ward of sight from Hellborn. But with 4 heroes here, this should drop sort of fast. Glyph of Fortification going out and helping out in terms of damage, or slowing this push down, excuse me. So all 5 heroes here. This is going to be an easy mid-tower kill.
Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower. The Hellborn have destroyed.
Hot tower goes down in favor of Hellborn, so now that's 2 towers down in favor of Hellborn. Top tower still taking continuous pressure. So we have 2 for 2, slightly in favor of Legion, as mid tower a little more valuable than the long lane tower, or the short lane tower. Ultimate going out from Prisoner. It's on Hag, sorry. I was wondering where he was. Hook in there, on top of the Shackle, can't blink, plus the Electric Tide, and there's the ultimate Pillar back in. So there's support from the TPs, but that's not going to end up anything. Meanwhile, in the middle, Torture getting caught out by Scout. And Parasite. So there's the least face hug and just easy death. That's Parasite now, sorry. Secondary tower going to die here.
Destroyed a Legion tower.
5-2 hero kill lead in favor of Hellborn. They've got 5.5k golden experience over their opponents. Flux down here, perhaps in some trouble. Courier, just fast enough. It was still hasted. So they're just waiting for Parasite's Codex to be up. Flux, regenerate on Scout. That's why he's keeping his mana up. He's got to be extremely annoyed about that. So Parasite's Codex will be back up in a few seconds, and this is definitely going to be a dead Flux. Get him. There's the jump, and the leech. Going to be the Facehug Codex. Couple more auto attacks. What's the release down? Not going to be enough. As Zane picks off the kill. So there's some pretty extreme patience right there. Now jump onto Corrupted Disciple. It pops the Energizer. It will be able to run away. And now we see Boy has taken over as the top farmer. Nice energy field dropped onto 2, plus the turret. Torture is completely caught out. Will eat a leech and die. NG gonna make his way out of there. Hag off to the side, looking for something possibly, but not gonna happen. 7-2 now in favor of Hellborn. There's a Shackle and an ultimate. As another one comes in there from Scout and just enough damage to kill Hag, so Prisoner has that portal key. Lots of jump potential here from Hellborn. Energizers, portal keys, invis, infests. And mid Kraken, sorry, Link 6 falls as well. And he's just going to get killed by everything as 4 heroes are here. Saint Rock's using that Codex to pick him off. Amber Boy is invisible in mid. And will show himself. So the entire Hellborn team either mid or in the Legion jungle. Bound Eye on Flux. That's probably not going to last very long. I can understand why they want it, because Scout's becoming a pretty serious issue, but probably not going to last too long. I suspect he'll die soon enough. So, Hellborn playing this relatively safe. I can't really blame them. They have a pretty solid lead here, and they definitely have the late game taken care of, considering that Hag's farm is basically nothing. They've shut down this Flux despite a good start. 341 gold per minute now behind both Corrupted and Parasite. And there's really no reason for them to take too many chances. They don't want to take team fights, obviously, because Legion's has the Tempest ultimate, and the Kraken ultimate, and the Bat Blast, and Torture doing a bunch of AoE damage, and they have quite a lot of single target, especially Scout Parasite. So they don't really have a problem doing stuff like this, where if Legion wants to take a tower, that's fine, we'll trade. We'll push stuff down ourselves.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Mid-secondary falls in favor of Legion, and it looks like they're going to keep pushing here. Hellborn is going to have to respond to this turret, helping out with some anti-push. Kegstun will hit a few minions and a hero, as this base tower is now getting pressured. So Hellborn are going to need to respond to this. Impale goes out, and their hook comes in, hits Kraken on top of the energy field, and now he's in a lot of trouble, will drop. Hellborn takes that as their cue to back the hell off. Flux pushes everybody away. But Corrupted's really fast here. Gonna chase down this Torturer. Is he hasted? No. There goes the ultimate, and they're just gonna see him. Oh, hello. Look, you're dead.
Double D's.
So they pick off a double tap, and save their base tower. Certainly a good thing. Top tower was getting pushed in a little bit by Prisoner, but he didn't get too much damage off, and this is probably gonna turn into a mid-tower push in favor of Hellborn. So Scout's just like, whatever, I'll tank it. Jump by Prisoner over here onto Flux. He's going to take the ultimate and the Shackle. Will be pulled back in. Imboboy is here as well. Hook going to hit him, and that's going to be a dead Flux. Tempest putting the ultimate down on just Prisoner. He has the haunt on him already. There's a Torrent as well, so he's going to drop. So 1-for-1 trade in favor of Hellborn, considering they got the tower and they got the Legion's most valuable hero in exchange, so they're fourth most valuable now. Plus they got a Tempest ultimate used. For I believe the first time this game. 21 minutes in, first time they've used Tempest ultimate. So, things once again looking worse and worse for this Legion side. This Torture must have seen an Electric Eye now. Yeah, he did. Huh? Maybe not. Hag has a Mighty Blade here, presumably going for that first item of Shrunken Head, choosing not to go Light Brand. That's going to actually be an even bigger problem, because not only is she not going to farm well, but she's not going to have any damage, because Shrunken doesn't really give you any damage. Highly defensive item there, of course. And honestly, I get why she'd want that, because of the NG ultimate for the Parasite damage as well, but quite a lot of Hellborn's damage is physical. Scout and Corrupted Disciple are both going to hurt a lot still. Meanwhile, Parasite getting collapsed on by everybody, and he's in a ton of trouble, will drop. So Saint Rock's just in the wrong place. Not sure what the hell he was doing there, but certainly wasn't the right decision. Regardless, Legion going to push top now. Tier 1 tower obviously still up. And with their decently strong push, they're feeling like this is a good opportunity to take that tower. Hellborn not really posing a defense to this yet. It is at full health, so they have some time. Stop killing the creeps, you guys. Let the Tempest Elementals do it. This is going to be a pretty fast tower kill. Meanwhile, Hellborn going to pressure this mid-secondary. So there goes the tier 1, and that looks like it's going to break up the Legion push. As they're all leaving, going to port back mid, trying to do some saving here. Hag gets pulled in, and the Shackle on her. She's in so much trouble, will drop, so... Lot secondary tower falls as well. Definitely not a good trade for the Legion. They kill a tier 1, they lose a tier 2, and Hag dies. And she's at 255 gold per minute, which is actually pretty solid considering how she started, and the fact that she does not have a Light Brand. We're 25 minutes into this game, and she's not even going for the Grimoire. So her farm is just never going to be that good. And once again, where's the damage? Convoy being attempted now by the Hellborn team will be a pretty easy drop, and Legion have no wards whatsoever to see any of this. Wards are up here in the top river and in their own jungle off to the side. Parasite can activate his invis and scout some people out. Convoy goes down. Actually, ward gets dropped right next to an electric eye, so Parasite's like, I'll kill that, thanks very much. Scout's a broken hero. I still think he is. I don't think the nerfs were enough, to be honest. Because I don't understand why he has disarm and increased attack speed and invisibility that gives him increased move speed and a nuke which does a mini stun and invis detection and a silence. It's just like he's got like 8 abilities. Or he can do like 8, so many things. It's kind of insane how powerful most of his abilities are. And he scales well. So, Simplified Gaming very, very deep in a hole at this point. 13,000 gold, 16.5k experience. Hag now in a lot of trouble. There goes Parasite, and she's just dead. Scout over here will get jumped, but has the invis. Of course, Shrunken Head, Bound Eye, and Flux going to stop the invis, but just get a kill, tortured. Oh my god. Now Wild Hunter there. Flux doesn't care once again. Imbiboy charging in like Rambo. Then you get pushed away. Activates the ult, but Tempest is definitely going to fall here despite the Glacial Blasts. Just getting chased down way too hard. Now Flux in a ton of trouble, trying to push people away. Not going to happen. Kraken has a DD. Running the hell out of there. Parasite picks up the Bind Eye. And this looks like multiple pushes. There's the GG, so not surprising. Reason just outplaying their opponents, and I think the draft was a little bit iffy here from Legion, plus their lanes didn't make a whole lot of sense, so they got outplayed, they got outdrafted, they got outlaned, and they lost the game. That's not that surprising. So that will do it for game 1. It goes to Reason Gaming, and let's move on to game 2.